Hello, dear future doctors. I am Jay Thakkar and I am currently a third year MBBS student at Sri MP Shah Government Medical College, Jamnagar, Gujarat, and I am working as a biology content creator here at MEMONEET. Now, let me tell you an interesting fact. First of all, in biology, there are two types of questions. Like, there are factual questions, which are direct one liners or direct questions. In that, you either know the answer or you don't know the answer. To ace those type of questions, what you should do, you should revise more and more times. And there are other type of questions which are the conceptual questions, and those questions require a lot of practice, and for that practice you should give as many full tests as possible. Now today we are going to discuss the zoology section of full test 6. I hope you have given the test, and now we will see the analysis of the test. So let us move on with the zoology section. So as you can see, we are starting with the zoology section, question number 151. And this question is an assertion reason question. The assertion says that the arthropods, including insects, are the largest phylum of Animalia and they exhibit a wide range of characteristics. So the assertion is correct because the arthropods are the largest phylum of kingdom Animalia. Now what is the reason given for this? The reason is given that they have jointed appendages, a chitinous exoskeleton, and various respiratory and sensory organs. Now see, the reason is exhibiting several characteristics of phylum Arthropoda, but it does not explain that why it is the largest phylum of Animalia. So the reason is correct, but it is not the correct explanation that why it is the largest phylum. So here the answer will be option 2. The assertion and reason are correct, but the reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. Moving on to the next question, question 152. It states that select the taxon mentioned that represents both marine and freshwater species. Okay. Now see, as we know that echinoderms, ctenophora and cephalochordata, the members of these three phylums are exclusively marine. But in the phylum Cnidaria, these organisms are mostly marine, but there are some freshwater organisms also. What are the examples of those? That is Hydra. So Hydra is a member of phylum Cnidaria, but it is freshwater organism. So it correctly represents both marine and freshwater. So the answer over here is option 4. Moving on to the next question. Question 153. It is, which one of the following sets of animals shares a four-chambered heart? Now see, who all contain a four-chambered heart? See, the reptiles and the amphibians contain a three-chamber heart, out of which two are the atria and one is ventricle. But there is an exception to that. Do you know that? The crocodiles, okay? Crocodiles are the exception, that they are a reptile but they have a four-chambered heart. Also, the birds and mammals, they also contain a four-chambered heart. So the correct answer is option 3. The next question is question 154. It is a matching type of question. Okay, so the animals are given and their locomotory organs are given. The first animal is octopus. Okay, so as we know, octopus has what type of locomotory organs? Octopus has tentacles. Okay, so A will go with 2. Next is Ctenophora, so Ctenoplana. Okay, Ctenoplana has what type of organs? It moves with comb plates. Okay, so B goes with 4. Then next is crocodile. So as we know, crocodile has limbs. Okay, so C goes with 3. And catla. So catla is a fish and it contains fins. So the correct option is option number 3. Okay. The next question is question 155. Question number 155 states that the ciliated columnar epithelial cells in humans are known to occur in. Now, how do these ciliated columnar epithelial cells look? So, these are first of all columnar cells, okay? They are placed like this. They contain nuclei at their bases, okay? So, nuclei is present at the base. And they have cilia. Cilia are the hair like structures. Okay, so these ciliated columnar epithelial cells are found where? So as we know that they are found in the respiratory tract, so in the bronchioles and also in the fallopian tube. They are found in the fallopian tube and they help in the movement of the egg. So the ciliated columnar epithelial cells are found at the bronchioles and fallopian tube. So the correct answer is option 2. The next question is question 156. It states that the sensory papillae in frogs are associated with. Okay, so these sensory papillae, as we know, they help in touch. Okay, so in the frog, their function is to help the frog with touch. Okay, so the answer is option 4. Moving on to the next question, question 157. It is the outer covering of cartilage is called. Okay, now see, the cartilage is present. Okay, it is a type of connective tissue and it contains which type of cells? It contains the chondrocytes, and the outer covering of cartilage is called as perichondrium. Okay, so peri means outer and chondrium comes from cartilage. Chondrocytes, which are the cells of cartilage. So the outer covering is also called as perichondrium. So the correct answer is option 1. The next question is question 158. It is said that the elemental composition of living organisms and that of inanimate objects like Earth's crust are similar. Okay, so the composition of living organisms, that is humans, and the Earth's crust are similar in the sense that all the major elements are present in both. Okay, and what are these major elements? Like they are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. Okay, so these are the major elements. Then what would be the difference between these two groups? Okay, so it is saying that the Earth's crust and humans are similar, that the major elements are present in both. But what is the difference in between them? So, when we see that the living organisms have more carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen per unit mass. Now, see, if we see the absolute value, the Earth is huge. Okay, so the highest amount of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen will be absolutely high in Earth. But if we divide it by its mass in kg, okay, if we see per unit mass, then the composition of carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen is more in living organisms. Okay, so the correct answer is option 3. The next question is question 159. It states that enzymes are biocatalysts. They catalyze the biochemical reactions. In general, they reduce the activation energy of the reactions. Now, you know the concept of activation energy, right? See, if this is the state of reactants and it goes to the activation energy and reaches to the state of products. Now, the function of enzyme is to reduce the activation energy. So, it reduces the activation energy so that going to this product state is easier for the substrate. Okay, so this is how the enzymes function. Now, many physiochemical processes are enzyme mediated. Which of the following reactions is not enzyme mediated in the biological system? Okay, so it is asking that which of them is not enzyme mediated. Now, see, the answer to this question is dissolving CO2 in water. See, dissolving a gas like CO2 in water does not require an enzyme. Okay, it can dissolve directly. Okay, the next question is inulin is a polymer of. Okay, now see, it is not insulin. You need to read the question properly. It is inulin, and as we know, inulin is a polymer of, the unit of inulin is fructose. Okay, so many molecules of fructose as monomers, they combine to form inulin, which is a polymer. Okay, so the correct answer is option 3, fructose. Moving on to the next question, question number 161. The following are the non-occupational respiratory disorders except. Okay, it is asking that all of the following are non-occupational respiratory disorder, but which of the following is occupational respiratory disorder, right? So, as we know, silicosis. Silicosis is a disease which is caused by the silica dust, and it is mainly seen in the coal mine workers. Okay, so silicosis is an occupational respiratory disorder. Okay, it causes inflammation of the respiratory pathway, and therefore it is called as silicosis. Next is question number 162. It states that dash and dash have a closed circulatory system. Okay, now first term here is closed circulatory system, in which the blood pumped by the heart is always circulated through a closed network of blood vessels. Okay, so what is closed circulatory system? Now see, if the heart is pumping blood into the body cavity itself, means the organs are bathed in the blood, then it is called as open circulatory system. But when there is a fine network of blood vessels, like in humans there are arteries and veins, and heart pumps into the arteries, so that is called as a closed circulatory system. And in which organisms is closed circulatory system found? So closed circulatory system is found in the annelids and the chordates. Okay, so these are some of the higher organisms which have the closed circulatory system, the annelida and the chordata. The next question, question 163, it is a match the following question. Okay, so here are certain terms related to the musculoskeletal system, and here are other terms which you have to relate. Okay, the first is sternum. So as we know, sternum is the chest bone, and it is what type of bone? It is a flat bone. Okay, so A goes with 3. Next is freely movable joint. Now see, freely movable joint are what type of joint? They are the synovial joint. So B goes with 4. Next are the cartilaginous joints. Cartilaginous joints are found between which of the following? They are found in between the vertebrae. Okay, so the vertebrae, in between them there are the vertebral disc, and those discs are made of cartilage. The next is glenoid cavity. So glenoid cavity, as we have discussed, that glenoid cavity is found in the scapula, right? This is the glenoid cavity, this is the scapula, and the head of humerus. Humerus is the arm bone. Okay, so head of humerus articulates in the glenoid cavity found in scapula. And which type of girdle is found, which type of girdle is called here in the shoulder region? It is the pectoral girdle, right? So glenoid cavity goes with pectoral girdle. So the correct answer is option 4. Okay, moving on to the next question. It is a statement, and you a statement based question, and you have to identify which of them is true and which is false. Okay, the first statement is myasthenia gravis. Okay, you know that myasthenia gravis is an autoimmune disorder affecting the neuromuscular junction, leading to fatigue, weakening, and paralysis of skeletal muscle. Okay, so this is a correct statement, right? Okay, the next statement is statement 2. Osteoporosis is a age related disorder characterized by decreased bone mass and increased chances of fractures. Decreased levels of estrogen is a common cause of osteoporosis. So yes, it is an absolutely correct statement, because osteoporosis is mainly seen in the postmenopausal women, where the estrogen level are low, and due to this estrogen level decrease, there is decreased bone mass. Okay, and due to decreased bone mass there is increased chances of fracture. The minor trauma to the bone can even lead to fracture. Okay, in the female affected with osteoporosis. So it is an age related disorder. So here the answer is both statement 1 and 2 are true. The next question, question 165. It is an assertion reason question, and the assertion is the imbalance in the concentration of sodium and potassium and proteins generates the resting membrane potential. Okay, so as we know, the resting membrane potential is negative, and it is mainly generated by the sodium and potassium and proteins. The distribution or the imbalance between them, between the membrane, it causes the resting membrane potential. And the reason is given: to maintain the equal distribution of sodium and potassium, the neurons use electrical energy. Now see, this resting membrane potential is mainly mediated by which type of pump? The Na plus, K plus, ATPase pump. Okay, so the Na plus K plus ATPase pump is responsible for maintaining the resting membrane potential. What is its function? It throws 3 Na plus out and 2 K plus inside the cell. So, and it uses what type of energy? Does it use electrical energy? No, it uses the energy in the form of ATP. Okay, so the reason given here is wrong. So the answer is assertion is correct, but the reason is incorrect, because Na plus K plus ATPase is responsible for maintaining the resting membrane potential, and Na plus K plus ATPase uses ATP as its energy, not electrical energy. Okay, so I hope you understood this. The next question is question 166. It is again a match the following question. So it is about the male reproductive system. The first is scrotum. So scrotum, the function of scrotum is what? To maintain the low temperature in the testis. Okay, so the low temperature of the testis is maintained by the scrotum. Okay, the next are the male germ cells. So male germ cells, they undergo meiotic divisions that lead to sperm formation, right? So the male germ cells, the B option goes with option 1. Next are the Leydig cells. Now, as you know, Leydig cells, their function is to secrete and synthesize the androgen. Okay, they synthesize the testosterone. So C goes with 3. And next are the Sertoli cells. Sertoli cells are the nutritional cells, or they are also called as the nurse cells. So they give the germ cells nutrition. Their main function is nutrition. So option D goes with 2. So the correct answer is option 1. The next question, question 167. It is the incorrect and correct statement question. You have to identify which of the following statement is incorrect. Okay. The first statement, let us start with the first one. The sperms released from the seminiferous tubules are transported by the accessory ducts. So yes, this is a correct statement, because when the sperms are released from the seminiferous tubules, they enter the accessory ducts, and after that they go to the urethra for ejaculation. Next is the semen is made up of seminal plasma and the sperms. So yes, the seminal plasma and the sperms comprise to form the semen. The third option is epididymis and vas deferens secretions are important for sperm maturation and motility. So yes, what is the site of sperm maturation? It is the epididymis. So, and the secretions from both epididymis and vas deferens are important for sperm maturation, and also they provide increased motility to the sperms. So here the correct answer is option 4, that all the above statements are correct. The next question is question number 168. Which of the following depicts the correct pathway of transport of the sperms? Now see, where the sperms are synthesized? In the seminiferous tubules, right? After the seminiferous tubules, they enter a vast network. Okay, network. That network is called as the rete testis. Okay. After the rete testis, it goes to the vasa efferens or the efferent ductules. The next site is the epididymis, and the epididymis is the site of maturation of sperms. And after that, it enters the vas deferens. Okay, from the vas deferens, the pathway, the secretions from the seminal vesicles, they also enter the vas deferens, and they form the ejaculatory duct. It leads into the urethra. Okay, and urethra opens outside. So the correct answer is option 1. The next question, question 169. It is an assertion reason question, and the assertion is given that radiation therapy is used to lethally irradiate the tumor cells while minimizing damage to surrounding normal tissues. Let us read the reason given for this. The chemotherapeutic drugs have side effects like hair loss and anemia. Okay, now see, here the assertion is absolutely correct, that radiation therapy is used to irradiate the tumor cells only while minimizing the damage to the surrounding normal tissues. So the main purpose of using radiation therapy is only that it uses targeted radiations which target only the tumor cells, and they prevent the damage to the surrounding normal cells. So it is correct. And the reason is also correct, that it is given that the chemotherapeutic drugs, the drugs which are given in the chemotherapy, these are really powerful drugs, and they cause different side effects like hair loss and anemia. Okay, so the reason is also correct, but does it explain the assertion? No. Okay, so the assertion and reason are correct, but the reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. Okay, Moving on to the next question, question 170, it states that rhinoviruses represent one such group of virus which cause one of the most infectious human ailments. And what is the disease caused by rhinovirus? You have to identify that. So as we know, rhinovirus are responsible for what? The common cold. Okay, so this is a pretty straightforward question, that rhinovirus cause common cold. Okay, so the answer is option 3. The next question is, the drug called heroin is synthesized by. Okay, now see, heroin is what type of drug? It is an opioid. Okay, so first of all you need to know that it is an opioid. And from what it is obtained? Heroin is obtained from morphine, and morphine is what it is obtained from the latex of what plant? The opium poppy. Okay, or Papaver somniferum. And when we modify morphine, we get heroin. And what is the modification which we do in morphine? So if you have heard the name of heroin, the other name of heroin is diacetyl morphine. Okay, so heroin is also called as diacetyl morphine. So what we have done to morphine? We have added two acetyl groups, so we have done the acetylation of morphine, and acetylation of morphine forms heroin. So the correct answer is option 3. Moving on to the next question, question 172. It is again a match the following question. Okay, so the first is origin of replication. So the origin of replication is what? It is responsible for controlling the copy number of linked DNA. Okay, next is recognition sites. Okay, the recognition sites, they see the presence of more than one within the vector complicates the gene cloning. Okay, so the option B goes with 3, means if there is presence of more than one recognition of site, then it complicates the process of gene cloning. Next is option C, that is selectable marker. And the selectable marker, what is the function of the selectable marker? The selectable marker identifies and eliminates the non-transformants. Now see, where we use selectable marker? When we have to identify that in which of the following cells transformation has occurred, and in which of the following cells transformation has not occurred, which are the non-transformants. So it identifies the non-transformants and eliminates them, and so after the process only the transformants are remaining. Okay, next is transformation. Now what is the process of transformation? A piece of DNA is introduced into the host bacterium. Okay, so when the desired DNA is introduced into the host bacterium, that is called as transformation. So the correct answer is option 2. The next question is question 173. It is a fill in the blank question. Dash are used in genetic engineering to form recombinant molecules of DNA, which are composed of DNA from different sources or genomes. So, what is used in the genetic engineering to form the DNA molecules? Yes, the restriction endonuclease are the main component which are used in genetic engineering. And what is the function of restriction endonuclease? They are called as molecular scissors. So the scissors cut the DNA at desired site. Okay. So the answer is option 2, restriction endonucleases. The next question, question 174. Choose the correct pair from the following. Okay, so these are the different enzymes given, and you have to identify the correct function of these enzymes. First is DNA ligases. Okay, so what is the function of ligase? They join the two DNA molecules. Yes, so this is correct. Okay, so the correct answer is option 1. Let us see the other options. They are DNA polymerase. DNA polymerase, what do? They add the DNA nucleotides in a sequence. Okay, so they form the DNA strand. What is given over here? They break the DNA into fragments, so this is wrong. Next is nucleases. Nucleases separate two strands of the DNA. So no, this is incorrect, because the separation of the two strands of DNA is done by DNA helicase. Okay, the helicase is responsible for separation of the two DNA strands. Next is the exonuclease. Exonuclease, it is given over here that they make cuts at a specific positions within the DNA. So no, exonuclease means exo means outside, so they cut the nucleotides present at the end of the DNA. So this is also wrong. The next question is a match the following question, question 175. It states The first option is ureotelic animals. Okay, so which of the following are ureotelic animals? They are the marine fishes. Okay, next is uricotelic animals. The uricotelic animals, so the marine fishes, terrestrial amphibians. Okay, these are ureotelic animals. Uricotelic animals are the land snails and birds. So as we know, the land snails and birds have their excretory material as uric acid. So the uricotelic animals are land snails and birds, and the ammonotelic animals are the aquatic amphibians. Okay, so the correct answer is option 2. The next question, question 176. It is a fill in the blank question. The epithelial cells of dash are called podocytes. Okay, first of all, where the podocytes are found? Do you remember that? The podocytes are found in the Bowman's capsule. Okay, so if you have seen the Bowman's capsule, okay, in the nephron, the podocytes are found lining the Bowman's capsule, and they are arranged in an intricate manner so as to leave some minute spaces between them. They are called as what? So first of all, the podocytes are found like this. Okay, they have some spaces in between them. Okay, and why are these spaces left? For the filtration process. So the podocytes are the epithelial cells of the Bowman's capsule, and the spaces in between them are called as the filtration slits or the slit pores. So the correct answer is option 1. Moving on to the next question, 177, it states that which of the following statements about genetic modifications is incorrect? Okay, so in this question you have to identify the incorrect statement about genetic modification. The first statement is it has enhanced the nutritional value of food. So yes, it is correct because the genetic modification has enhanced the nutritional value, right? The nutritional value of food has increased day by day due to genetic modification. Next statement is it has reduced the reliance on chemical pesticides. Yes, it has reduced our dependence on the chemical pesticides because the genetic modification is desirable for us, okay, and it has increased the nutritional value along with decreasing the reliance on chemical pesticides. Next is it has helped increase the efficiency of mineral usage by plants. So yes, this is also a correct statement. So the answer is option 4. All of the above statements are correct. The next is question 178. A nematode dash infects the roots of tobacco plants, okay, and causes a great reduction in yield. So you have to identify the nematode which infects the what? It infects the roots of tobacco plants, and therefore it causes great reduction in the yield of tobacco plant. So which is this nematode? This nematode is Melioidogyne incognitia. Okay, next is question 179. Golden rice is a transgenic crop of future with the following trait. So what is the characteristic of golden rice? Does it contain high lysine? Does it contain insect resistance? Or does it contain high protein or high vitamin A? So the characteristic feature of golden rice is its high vitamin A content. Okay, so golden rice are the genetically modified rice, and they are modified in such a way that they contain high vitamin A. So the correct answer is option 4. The next is question 180. It is an assertion reason question. The assertion states that the cerebellum is related with the skillful voluntary movement and the involuntary activity like body balance, equilibrium, etc. Okay, so yes, this is the correct because cerebellum, as we know, it is related with body balance and equilibrium. The reason given here for this is it is a part of hindbrain and it is situated behind pons. Now see, the reason is also correct because cerebellum is a part of hindbrain and it is situated behind the pons. But does it explain the function of cerebellum? No. Okay, so the reason given here is correct, but it is not the correct explanation for assertion. So the answer here is option 2, that the assertion and reason are both correct, but the reason is not the correct explanation of the assertion. The next is question 181. It is also an assertion reason question. The formation of ozone layer on the early earth contributed to the emergence of life. Okay, so yes, this is a correct statement, because the ozone layer, what it does, it protects us from the UV rays. So its contribution is there for emergence of life. Next, the reason given here for this is the UV rays from the sun broke up water vapor into hydrogen and oxygen, with oxygen combining with ammonia and methane to form water, CO2, and other compounds. So the reason is also correct, that the UV rays were responsible for breaking of water vapor into hydrogen and oxygen. See, this is the reaction which happened. H2O, which is the water vapor, it broke into hydrogen and oxygen, that is H2 and O2. Now what happened, hydrogen is lighter, right? So hydrogen goes up, and the oxygen which is remaining here, it combined with ammonia, that is NH3, methane, that is CH4, and it formed water, carbon dioxide, and other compounds. So the reason given over here is also correct, but it is not the correct explanation of the assertion, because the assertion is talking about the ozone layer and the emergence of life on earth. So the answer over here is option 2, that the reason and assertion are both correct, but the reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. Next is question 182. It is a match the following question, okay, from evolution. Okay, the first option is divergent evolution. Now, as you know, divergent evolution means what? It is sorry, so the divergent evolution states that the same structure developed along different directions due to the adaptations to different needs. So option A goes with 2, that is it is talking about the same structure which is developed along the different directions according to the different adaptations. Okay, so that is divergent evolution. Next is convergent evolution. So the convergent evolution states that it is talking about the structures which are not anatomically similar, but they perform the same functions. Okay, so the structure are not similar, but they are performing the same function, that is the convergent evolution. Next is option C, that is homology. What is homology? So homology is based on divergent evolution, so C goes with 3, and analogy is based on convergent evolution. Okay, so D goes with 1. So the correct answer is option 3. Next is question 183. Classify the diseases as curable and incurable. Okay, so there are different diseases given over here, and we have to classify which of them is curable and which of them is incurable. First disease is gonorrhea. Now gonorrhea is a bacterial disease which is caused by Neisseria gonorrhoeae, and as we have heard that gonorrhea, if identified early, it can be cured very easily with the help of antibiotics. So gonorrhea is curable in nature. So the first and second options are eliminated because here it is given incurable. Okay, the third and fourth option remain. So the next is syphilis. Now see, syphilis is also a curable disease, and genital herpes, it is caused by herpes simplex virus, and it is incurable in nature. And hepatitis B is also incurable in nature, because see, the vaccine of hepatitis is available, but once there is full blown disease in a person of hepatitis B, then it becomes incurable. So the correct answer is option 4. The next is question number 184. It states that which of the following statements is incorrect. So there are 4 statements given, and you have to identify which of them is incorrect. The first statement is pills have to be taken daily for a period of 21 days, starting preferably within the first 5 days of the menstrual cycle. So yes, it is talking about the oral pills which are taken for contraception. So it is a correct statement, because they are taken for 21 days starting in the first 5 days of menstrual cycle, and they are taken daily. The next option is progestogens alone or in combination with estrogen can be used by females as injections or implants under the skin. So this is also a correct statement, because as we have heard about the implants which continuously release progesterone, and it acts as a method of contraception, so it can be used by injections or implants under the skin. First, let us see the fourth statement. The surgical methods, which are known as sterilization, they are advised for the male or female partner as a terminal method to prevent any more pregnancies. So this is also a correct statement, because in sterilization, what we do, we can do either tubectomy or we can do vasectomy, and it is a permanent method of sterilization where it prevents any more pregnancies. The third statement is oral administration of small doses of progesterones or progestogen estrogen combination is another contraceptive method used by both males and females. Now see, the oral pills of progesterone or progesterone estrogen combination, they are used by females only, okay, not by males. So this is an incorrect statement, and it is a correct option for question number 184. The next question is question 185. Dash is one such method in which couples avoid or abstain from coitus from day 10 to 17 of the menstrual cycle when ovulation is expected. Now see, the abstinence is the natural method of contraception, and the couples abstain from coitus in from day 10 to 17, okay. So this period is called as the danger period where ovulation is expected. So which is the correct answer over here? It is periodic abstinence, okay, and it is a natural method of contraception. So the correct answer is option 3. Moving on to the next question, question number 186. It is, these animals have an endoskeleton of dash and hence the name Echinodermata. Okay, so it is asking that the phylum Echinodermata, the animals belonging to Echinodermata contain the endoskeleton made of what? So the endoskeleton of echinoderms is made of calcareous ossicles. Okay, so the correct answer is option 3. Moving on to the next question, it is a match the following question. Okay, so first is phallomere. Phallomere is related to the external genitalia. Okay, next is question the option B, spermatophore. Okay, so the phallomere is the external genitalia. The spermatophore, what is spermatophore? So the spermatophore is the bundles of the sperms, and option C is gonophore. Now what is gonophore? Gonophore is the opening of the ejaculatory duct, and ovarioles, option D, ovarioles is the chain of developing ova. Okay, so the correct answer is option 2. Moving on to the next question, question 188. It is a statement based question, and you have to identify which of the statement is true and which is false. The first statement is ribozymes are the nucleic acids that behave like enzymes. So yes, this is a correct statement. See, normally enzymes are protein in nature, right? But ribozymes are the RNA which behaves as the enzyme. So these are the nucleic acid which behave like enzyme. So statement 1 is correct. Next statement is enzymes generally function with a wide range of temperature and pH. So this is a wrong statement. Why? Because the enzyme have a particular range of temperature and pH at which they provide the optimum function, and that is called as optimum temperature and optimum pH, and they produce a bell-shaped curve. If you've seen this curve, okay, so this is the point where enzyme is giving its maximum function, and this is the optimum pH range or the optimum temperature range. So the correct answer over here is statement 1 is true, but statement 2 is false. The next question is question 189. Nearly dash percent of CO2 is transported by RBCs, whereas dash percent of it is carried as bicarbonate. Now, as we know, maximum percentage of CO2 is transported as bicarbonate, and what is the exact percentage? To go in detail, it is 70%. 70% of CO2 is transported as bicarbonate, and around 20 to 25% CO2 is transported in the RBCs. Okay, so the correct answer over here is option 3. Next question is question 190. Which among the following is correct during each cardiac cycle? Okay, so it is a question about cardiac cycle, and it is asking which of the following statements is correct. The first statement is the volume of blood pumped out by the right and left ventricles is the same. So yes, this is the correct statement, because the right and left ventricle pump the same amount of blood, and that is known as stroke volume, okay, which is pumped in the each beat. So that is the stroke volume, and from the right and left ventricles it is the same. Let us see the other statements also. They state the volume of blood pumped out by the right and left ventricles is different. So no. Next is the volume of blood received by each atrium is different. No. Okay, the blood received by each atrium is the same. The volume of blood received by each aorta and the pulmonary artery is different. So this is also an incorrect statement, because if the right and left ventricle pump the same amount of volume, then the aorta from the left ventricle will receive the same amount of blood, and the pulmonary artery from the right ventricle will receive the same amount of blood. Okay. The next question is question 191. It is the match the following question. First is sarcomere. Now what is sarcomere? Sarcomere is the contractile unit of muscle. The basic contractile unit of muscle is sarcomere. Next are the slow muscle fibers. The slow muscle fiber contain myoglobin. Okay, and the fast muscle fibers. The fast muscle fibers they form lactic acid. Next is the actin filament. The actin filament is responsible for the formation of eye band. Okay, so the correct answer is option 3. Moving on to the next question, question number 192. It states that the function of our visceral organs is controlled by. Okay, now see, the visceral organs like stomach and the intestines, they also contain a nervous system. Okay, and their function is controlled by which type of nervous system? Yes, the autonomic nervous system. And what are the two parts of autonomic nervous system? The autonomic nervous system is divided into sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. So the correct answer is option 2. Okay, and if you know that the sympathetic is for what type of response? The fear and flight response. Okay, and in that case the blood supply to the GIT is reduced. Okay, and the parasympathetic is the rest and digest system. Okay, so in that the blood supply to GIT is increased. Next is question 193. It is a match the following question. Okay, first are the ovaries. Ovaries, the what is the correct characteristic of there? The ovaries are present as a pair, and each are 2 to 4 centimeter long. Okay, next is uterus. Okay, so uterus is single and the wall has 3 layers. Okay, what are the 3 layers of uterus? The endometrium, the myometrium, and the perimetrium. Next is fallopian tube. So fallopian tube is a pair. Okay, they are present in a pair, and each fallopian tube is 10 to 12 centimeter long. Option D is infundibulum. Infundibulum has finger-like projections called fimbriae. Okay, so it is a part of fallopian tube. The next is, so the correct option over here is option 3. Next is question number 194. It is a statement based question. Below are two given statements about drug misuse. Statement 1 is one of the side effects of use of anabolic steroids in females is masculinization. Okay, so yes, this is a correct statement, because anabolic steroids cause various side effects, and even in females it causes irregularity in the menstruation, and it also causes masculinization. Next statement is statement 2. Some sports persons misuse narcotic analgesics, anabolic steroids, and diuretics and certain hormones in sports to increase stamina and activity in games. So this statement is false. Okay. Next is so the correct option over here is option 1. Okay. Moving on to the next question, question 195. It states the ligation of alien DNA is carried out at a dash present in one of the two dash. Okay, so first of all, the ligation of the alien DNA is carried at which site? The restriction site, and it is present in one of the two antibiotic resistance genes. Okay, so the correct option here is option 3. So answer of question 195 is option 3. Question number 196 is the specific palindromic sequence. Now, first of all, what is the definition of palindromic sequence? Palindromic sequence means a sequence which we read from left to right and right to left is the same. So, which of the following is a palindromic sequence? This is a palindromic sequence. See, if we read it from left to right, it is GAATTC, and from right to left, it is also GAATTC. So, the correct answer is option 1, the specific palindromic sequence which is recognized by ECO-R1. ECO-R1 is a restriction endonuclease and it cuts at a specific palindromic sequence, that is GAATTC. The next is question 197. The functioning of kidneys is efficiently monitored and regulated by dash involving the hypothalamus, JGA, that is the juxtaglomerular apparatus, to a certain extent the heart. Okay, so the functioning of kidneys is efficiently monitored by hormonal feedback mechanisms. Okay, like the RAS system, as you know, that is the renin angiotensin aldosterone system. So it is also a hormonal system. So the correct answer is option 3. Moving on to the next question, it is an assertion reason question. Assertion is Bacillus thuringiensis toxin does not kill the bacterium itself. The reason given over here is the Bt toxin exists as an inactive protoxin within the protein crystals, which are only activated in the alkaline pH of insect gut, leading to the death of insect. So over here, both assertion and reason are correct, but the reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. Why? Because the assertion given over here is the Bacillus thuringiensis toxin does not kill the bacterium itself. So this is correct, and the reason given here does not explain the assertion correctly. Okay. Next is question 199. Below are the two given statements about transmission of impulses. You have to identify which is true and which one is false. The first statement is transmission of an impulse across electrical synapses is very different from impulse conduction along a single axon. Now see, there are two types of synapses, electrical synapse and chemical synapse. The electrical synapse is faster and its transmission of impulse is very similar to the transmission across a single axon. So this statement is incorrect because it is similar to the transport which is seen in a single axon. The next statement is the secondary follicle further changes into mature follicle or Graafian follicle. So yes, it is a correct statement. Okay, because the secondary follicle is converted to the Graafian follicle and from that the ova is released. The next question is question 200, the last question. It states that from his experiments, S.L. Miller produced amino acids by mixing the following in a closed flask. So if you know the Miller experiment, what was used by them? What was used by S.L. Miller? He mixed methane, hydrogen and ammonia and water vapor at 800 degrees Celsius. So this is the correct answer because S.L. Miller used these are compounds, that is methane, hydrogen, ammonia and water vapor, and in a closed flask he produced amino acid by mixing them at 800 degrees Celsius. So here we have covered all the questions from zoology section. Okay, so I hope you are clear with the zoology section of full test 6. All the best for the NEET exam and all the best even for the future upcoming full test. Keep on giving full test and you will get a lot of practice and you will find that the NEET exam is really simple. It is just like the mock test which you have solved. Till then, keep hustling.